Hey, what is going on, y'all? In today's video, we're gonna be talking about tire pressure. Tire pressure for your cars, your trucks, your motorcycles, and your bikes. I'm gonna give you some key methods in order to maintain that tire pressure and do it in a way that's safe and efficient. After we get done in the shop going over these tools, we'll step outside to use this #1 tool to fill the tires. You wanna hang on for this. Let's go! Hey, so as I mentioned in the open, this video is all about tire pressure. It is really important that you maintain proper tire pressure and you know how to fill it in a safe and efficient manner. And so there's been a couple things over the years that I've decided I don't want to subject myself to when it comes to adding air to my tires. And it may seem simple, but when you really think about it, it makes sense to have the ability to fill your air at your house when you're ready. The key in all of this is going to be this item right here that's going to be in this particular case. And I'll get to that at the end of the video, and I'll also tell you how to get it, so stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get into the tools that I use for filling my tire pressure. First of all, you want reliable tools that you can depend on in a pinch when the time comes. You could be leaving for a trip and realize, oh, I need to check my tire pressure. And then what if you don't have reliable tools? And so the very first one that I'm going to talk about is this tire pressure gauge. I have had this tire pressure gauge for years. This is probably older than all of my kids, give or take. But this gauge has found to be accurate and consistent for 20 some odd years. And so there are so many different tire pressure gauges on the market. You want to make sure that you spend a good amount of money, in my mind, you want to make sure that you spend a good amount of money on a tire pressure gauge that's going to be accurate and ready for you when you need it. What I do is I check the pressure of the known measurement tools that I have at my disposal to make sure this is accurate. And so what I mean is the tire pressure monitoring systems from your vehicles. You have to understand how accurate they are, plus or minus, because there's not going to be 100% accuracy, at least in this price range anyway. You want to understand that it's consistent from tire to tire and from vehicle to vehicle. I've proven that this gauge for me is accurate, and I've had others that I have purchased that are not accurate in terms of they're off by maybe 3 or 4 PSI, and that's important because that changes how your tire wears and all that other kind of stuff. So like I said, it's really important that you get you a precision, trusted tire pressure gauge. So next, I'm going to talk about the fill gauge and why I feel like this is important to have one of these. With this fill gauge, I hook up to my air compressor over here, and I can run the hose all the way down to my vehicles when I need to, especially when I need to put a lot of air in the truck, for example, since it's got 20-inch wheels and big off-road tires and all other kind of stuff. I really don't use it for the motorcycle. That's what this is for, and we'll get to that. Stay tuned. But the ability to just hook this up, not everybody has this convenience, and I get that. Not everybody has a place for an air compressor, especially as big as that one. That one's for my woodworking and what have you. But to have this option is clutch when it comes to putting air in your tires and not having to worry about going to a gas station and paying, worrying about if the actual filler is broken, or better yet, just think about the safety of your loved ones. I have concerns around my loved ones having to be at a gas station trying to fill up, paying attention to what's going on and something taking place that you don't necessarily want. Again, I'm the kind of person, I want to be ready in an emergency. I want to be ready to go and have the things that I need. Not to mention, you get to add some toys to your collection by doing that. So, tire pressure gauge, tire pressure filler. This one's digital. It turns on right here. I got this off of Amazon, and I will link it down below with an affiliate link. So feel free to click and purchase it. I really like this gauge. Like I said, it's accurate against this tire pressure gauge, and I think it'll do you good. It's an Astro AI, I think is what it's called. But like I said, it'll be linked down in the description with an Amazon affiliate link. So now that we've gotten through all of this, let's go ahead and get to the grand prize. Let's go ahead and get to what I really think you should purchase for filling your tires in a pinch, or when you're just trying to get them to the right pressure so you ensure that things are good to go. Let's go ahead and step into it. All right, so without any other delay, let's go ahead and get into what goes in this case as far as being the #1 option to fill your tires. Let's step on over here to the TV. So what I'm gonna suggest as the #1 option to fill your tires that's convenient, easy to use, and is accurate is this Fantik X8 Apex. And so I purchased this probably about 6 months ago to fill my tires with. And so I took it on a road trip with my motorcycle, packed it in my luggage. I've also taken it on other trips. This comes in handy so much when it comes to filling your tires and making sure that you're good to go. It even has a light on it right here. But this can be picked up on Amazon. I'm going to put an affiliate link down in the description, and I ask that you click that and purchase this particular tire pressure filler. It is very efficient. It can do up to 150 PSI cordless. It charges with USB-C. And I'll go through some of the other functions back over here at the table where I can get a close-up for you here. But it is very convenient. It's very light. Like I said, I absolutely recommend it for all your filling needs. Let's go ahead and step over to the table and go through a thorough description of this device. And like I said, then we'll step outside and use it outside. Next, we're going to go into the features of the Fantik X8 Apex. And so some of the things that I really want to point out early on are the different modes. So you see right here, you have car mode. You hit this button right here and it'll cycle through the modes. So motorcycle mode or bike, actually that's motorcycle mode. You see it's 35 PSI. Bicycle mode is 45 PSI because that's what my bicycle tire takes. And again, it's preset when you move to it from the last thing you did. And then last but not least, you have basketball, which is sports balls, stuff like that. And so this is the custom mode where you can go up to 150 PSI. I don't know who would ever need it, but it's there in case you need it. Obviously, it'll hit the battery to drain it if you run it that long. But you see right here, you have a battery meter. And I've had no problems filling all 4 of my tires to the proper PSI. This is also rated to fill a 35-inch tire from flat. I don't know that I would recommend it, but it is rated to do that. And so, like I just did, it has the up and the down to add or subtract the PSI that you want to use. It has the light. I showed you the button there. And then to use it, it comes with this hose. This hose is roughly about, I'd say 14 inches long. I take and I mount it just like this. It's just easier for me to turn it upside down and mount it like that. That way I don't cross-thread anything or have any damage to it. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on real quick. You screw it on just like this. And like I said, we're gonna go out to the truck here in a minute and I'll show you. But you screw it on just like that. And then you have the PSI that you want. And then you just hit that button. And you hear it delivering. You probably couldn't hear me with that. And then you hear it delivering the air that you need. A couple other things that I want to point out. Like I said, you charge it via USB-C, and then you can also use it as a battery bank. That's a 2.6 milliamp hour battery bank, 2600 milliamp hours battery bank that you can use from USB-A to whatever it is device that you're using. I've never used it for that function, so I don't have any real life testimony on that, but it is there in case you need it. And so, like I said, we're gonna go outside here in just a minute. Here's the case that I purchased with it. And what I did was, or what I do is I take and I mount the hose on top. I'll show some B-roll here in just a minute. I take and mount the hose on top, and then I turn the device itself on its side. And the reason why I say I turn it on its side is, I had an issue with this being pressed on, and then it discharged it, and I couldn't figure out why it didn't work when I went to go to use it. So when I put it in the case, I put it in, without the hose obviously, just like this, and make sure it's turned off. Because I do not believe this has an auto shut off. I'll confirm that when I get into some more of the specs. But that's it for the review inside the shop. Let's go ahead and step outside and go through the sequence of adding air to your tires as I would do. Let's go.
So we're out here at the truck, and another reason why I feel like it's important to make sure that you can fill your tires at your house or at your convenience is filling your tires when your tires are cool, when they're air temperature. Because what you don't want is you don't want that buildup of heat from the friction from the tires, adding additional tire pressure to the tire before you even get to go to fill it. It's going to be inaccurate. And so if you overfill your tires, it causes different wear patterns. If you underfill your tires, it causes different wear patterns. I want to give you the best advice that I know and that I've read and that I practice in order to fill your tires. And so the next thing to be able to do this at your house is the convenience. And again, like I said before, the safety. The convenience to be able to do this at your house, at your time, at your leisure, not having to worry about costs, not having to worry about if the gas station's pump is actually working. So
one thing I did want to add is this is how you determine what the proper PSI is for your tires. So whenever I replace my tires, I always try to replace it with the size that it came with. Not necessarily the brand, but the size specifically that it came with. And then also right here, you see that the front is supposed to be 32 PSI cold tire pressure. And again, remember I told you cold tire pressure. And then the rear is supposed to be 35. This is how you know exactly how much PSI needs to go into your tires, and you can properly adjust it. Make sure you follow that tip to get the right pressure in your tires.
So let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, you want a reliable tire gauge. Check your tire pressure. I know my truck requires 35 PSI. So right now my tire is reading 33. You can see that right in there. It's reading 33. Now remember I said you want your tire pressure tool, your filler, to actually be accurate with your tire pressure gauge. And so what I'm doing is I'm using the Fantik and I'm screwing it on onto the stem. And as you can see right there, it's reading between 32 and 33 PSI. That tells me that my gauges are calibrated and they're going to be accurate at least to one another, so that way I make sure I get a good check. I check it with the tire pressure gauge first. Then I go ahead and throw the actual filler on, because there's no point in hooking it up if the pressures are good. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this tire. It needs to be 35 PSI. And there you go. Took about, I didn't time it, but took about maybe a minute and a half, something like that, give or take. And I'm at the right pressure. Go ahead and disconnect. And as you can see, this is how simple it is to check your tires and get them filled with no inconvenience. I definitely recommend the Fantik X8. I'd like for you to pick it up with the link in the description. I want to thank you for watching the video to the end. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. And remember to always ride as if your life depends on it. Peace.